Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very unique meeting of the town of Petawawa at 12 o'clock. Thank you to the environment that we're now living in, and that is, of course, COVID-19 has forced this situation with a more aggressive lockdown situation to try and help stem the side of this COVID-19. I think it's fair to say that we've all done our fair share to try and reduce this, and I have to say, quite frankly, up front, working with Dr. Cushman and his team at the health unit, they've done a stellar job of trying to control everything. And we meet, as you probably are aware, on a regular basis, but I think we still have to do a little bit more of this to beat the COVID-19 situation. The distancing, I know vaccinations will help, distancing and washing your hands and all the things that we've heard for the last year. We have to continue to do that and keep that going. Not meeting in groups over 5, et cetera, et cetera. So to members of council, spread the word, please. If we're going to get through this, we all have to do our piece and work together to get back to what we would consider normal. So again, thank you to Dr. Cushman and his team, and to members of council and our staff who are working constantly to get that. But the reason we're here today is because everyone else in the county is pretty well going on virtual meetings, and the best one we could get was 12 o'clock today. So with that, I've called the meeting to order, and I'll ask for those who are with us today to just bow their heads and think of all this, those who are suffering from COVID, et cetera, for a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you very much. With that, we'll go back to the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please. Councillor Root, second by Councillor Sabrin. All in favor? It is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Any member wish to disclose any pecuniary interest on any of the matters before us this afternoon? Having seen none, then we'll go to the approval of the minutes of the council meeting of March the 15th. Any errors or omissions to the minutes as distributed? Seeing none, then I need a motion to accept the minutes, please. Councillor Carmody, seconded by Deputy Mayor Service. No questions. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. With that, we go to no presentation, CEO.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Bylaws. The first bylaw is bylaw 140121, a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa. I need a motion for first and second reading, please. Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Moons. All in favor? It is carried.
Bylaw 140121, being a bylaw to appoint a municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa. This constitutes first and second reading of bylaw 140121.
We'll go to third reading of that bylaw. Bylaw 140121 be read a third time and passed. Is there any questions or comments or discussion on the bylaw? Having seen none, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried.
Bylaw 140121, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 140121.
Under correspondence, we have a letter from the Integrity Commissioner, his annual report for 2020. CEO, did you want to speak to this?
I am deferring to the Deputy Clerk on this, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy.
Yeah, so this is our annual report from our Integrity Commissioner, which needs to be presented in a public meeting of council. I believe last year, due to COVID, we missed doing that. But for this year, this is the report from our Integrity Commissioner, and no, what's the word? No code of conduct has been filed against any member.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. We all behaved ourselves, which is just great. And but nonetheless, we have to have this report. And I need a motion of council to accept this report unless there's some comments you want to make, but I see none. Then it's moved by Councillor Carmody, seconded by Councillor Sabran. Any questions on the report? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. The Community Safety and Wellbeing Extension request from the Township of Terrace Bay from James Carmody, Councillor Carmody, the Chair of the Police Services Board. We have a resolution to support this, but before we do that, Councillor Carmody, did you want to speak to this?
Well, certainly. Thank you, Mayor Sweet. The resolution that was passed by Terrace Bay, and just by means of, to give you a bit of context, Terrace Bay is sort of halfway between Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie, up in that neck of the woods. So it's a request or a resolution passed by their council requesting an extension, that the Solicitor General consider an extension to the July 1st deadline for the community safety and well-being plans. And so this is something that I thought worthy of putting on our agenda for consideration, for council's consideration. Terrace Bay is a small community. It's a little township. You know, they don't necessarily have the resources that some of the bigger communities would have to get something like this done in a reasonable length of time, given all of the COVID complications that have arisen. Certainly in our case, we've been able to team up with our neighboring municipalities, and we had the resources to hire somebody to help us get this done. And even at that, there are unforeseen complications due to some health issues that have crept into the picture, which may complicate things a little bit. But certainly I can understand Terrace Bay's desire to have an extension on this, and I would be willing to support the resolution.
Okay, thank you. So ours is moving ahead nonetheless.
Ours is moving ahead, yes.
That's good.
And as I say, it's just, there's been a few delays due to some unforeseen health issues that the coordinator that we hired to work with us, had a few health issues.
Problems. So, okay. So I have in front of me a resolution, and I'll read it to members of council. Be it resolved that the corporation of the town of Petawawa hereby supports the efforts being taken seeking an extension to July the 1st, 2021 deadline to the Solicitor General for submission for the County Safety and Wellbeing Plan. That's the resolution that I have in front of me. I believe Councillor Carmody is willing to move this, but in moving that forward, I need someone to second that resolution, please. Deputy Mayor Servants, I'll open it up for any discussion, comments, or questions about this motion. Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. With that, back to the agenda. We have a series of minutes to take care of, Council and Committee of March the 22nd. Any errors or omissions to the minutes as distributed? Seeing none, I need a motion to accept the minutes of March the 22nd, 2021. Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Service, Councillor Sabran. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? Carried. Thank you. Next set of minutes, the Festival Hall meeting of September the 22nd. I need a motion to accept the minutes, please. Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Carmody. I'll hand it over to Councillor Roots. Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I spoke to all the matter in these minutes multiple times to council, but I will entertain any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of the sitting member? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. With that, we will now go to the Waste Management Board. I need a motion to accept the minutes of November the 26th, 2020. Councillor Moon, seconded by Councillor Roots. Councillor Moon, you wish to speak to this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it was pretty well business as usual back in November. We were tidying up a lot of loose ends for the year. We did pass a draft budget at that point in time, which has been passed forward to the town for their approval, which is the normal process. Everything else was pretty well normal at this time of the year. Things were quiet with the COVID, and was no fall pickup, so things were really extraordinarily quiet actually. If there's any, I reported on these before, but if there's any questions, I'd be willing to try and address them at this point.
Sure. Thank you for that. Questions of the sitting member? Having seen none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Any? It's carried. Thank you. Petawawa Public Library Board. Need a motion to accept the minutes of Monday, the 22nd. Councillor Carmody, Deputy Mayor Service. Deputy Mayor, who's speaking to this? You are, or Councillor Carmody? Councillor Sarah, Deputy Mayor Service?
I'll be speaking to this.
Okay,
Am I coming through okay?
just a little bit slow, but we'll work with you.
Okay, you see before you the minutes of the meetings for February and March. Those were 2 average months, and we've talked about those previously. But I will update you on our union negotiations. We did ratify an agreement with our union members. We signed a 3-year agreement with CUPE, so that'll keep us in good stead for the next 3 years. However, there is a bit of news I need to tell you. Last week, our library CEO tendered her resignation, effective April 30th, 2021, and we're in the process of advertising for a new library CEO as we speak. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is that a retirement, Deputy Mayor, or just someone moving on, or?
She has decided to take a position in Smith Falls, at the library in Smith Falls.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you to the CEO for her service, and wish her well. And in Smith Falls, it's a nice community, about the same size as our community here in Petawawa, but I wish her all the very best. Questions of the Deputy Mayor's report on the library? Councillor Mons.
Out of curiosity, Mr. Mayor, the agreement, union negotiations and the agreement, is the salary increases, are they in line with the town overall, and are they staying on our current grid, I guess, is my concern.
I can't answer that.
I can answer that.
Okay.
So it was a 3-year agreement with a 1%, 1.25% increase, with the Me Too clause still in place, which keeps them in line with any increases the town employees will get over and above the 1.25.
Okay. Comfortable with that, Councillor Mons, with that answer?
Well, I guess I'd have to refer that to the CAO. Does that keep us in line with the grid? I'm not sure what the grid is at this point in time, to be honest with you.
CEO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the grid actually, the shift of the grid in 2021 was 0.7%. So the library collective agreement is 1. So it is in fact out of sync, if you will, with the town's grid. I am seeking out advice as to what that actually does with respect to the relationship between the library staff and the town's grid, and I will report back pending my findings.
Thank you. Further on the couple of reports, the set of minutes. See nothing, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. Police Services Board. Need a motion to accept the Police Services Board meeting 24th of February 2021. Councillor Carmody, seconded by Councillor Roots. Councillor Carmody, do you wish to speak to those?
Thank you, Mayor Sweet. So before you have the minutes of the PSB meeting held on February 24th, 2021. This was an in-person meeting held in the council chambers. And it was largely business, regular business. I can report a little bit. We're teaming up with Deep River and the MPs to do a mega ride program, which is exactly as it sounds, a big ride program. In partnership with our neighboring services. And so we're going to be doing that on the Friday of the long weekend in May.
Me.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And as I say, everything else was pretty much business as usual. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Questions of the Police Services Board. Councillor Carmody and I will be meeting with the detachment commander with regards to a Police Services Board detachment wide, which is supposed to be in place sometime in June. So we'll have a meeting with the detachment commander. I think a little later on this month or this week, I think, Councillor, to discuss the formation or the composition of that particular detachment board. This has been put in place by the Solicitor General, I believe, and I just wanted to have a chat with them, with the Councillor Carmody in attendance, just to see what is involved with this particular detachment-wide board, and we'll get back to you as soon as we've had an opportunity to get some ideas of what exactly it's all about. So, any questions on the minutes of the Police Services Board? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote on them. All in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you. With that, we go to the accessibility report. I need a motion, please. Councillor Sabran, seconded by. Nobody wants to second. Oh, their Deputy Mayor Service. With that, I'll hand it over to the sitting member, Councillor Sabran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have reported on these minutes previously, but I would like to just add that the committee reviewed the site plan for Herman Street School Daycare Addition, as well as for a parking lot expansion at 3482 Petawawa Boulevard. And those comments from the Accessibility Advisory Committee were provided to planning so that she could include them with the other feedback. Also, I had reported, I believe, at our last committee meeting that a number of us had attended the Accessibility Advisory training, which was championed, I guess, by the Rick Hansen Foundation and represented municipalities all across the country. And, two things just to report again is that CSA is working on an accessible residential standard with the support of CMHC that will hopefully be released for implementation in May 2022. We have not been consulted as a municipality as far as I'm aware, and certainly I'm not sure what the entire process is going to look like, but that could only bode well for increasing the inclusion opportunities for folks who live with various types of abilities. So, and also I I'm not sure if I had mentioned this, but certainly resonated with me since I've been sitting on this committee since about 2006, 2008. We have attended various types of workshops, and consistently we hear from presenters who are living with disabilities in our community that the minimum standards are difficult at best and challenging at the very worst. And so there's always been an advocacy from that community to increase the minimum standards associated with construction and whatnot. And so a quote that really resonated with me during Minister Qualtrough and Rick Hansen's presentation was this. It says, if we only look at compliance to minimum standards, then today's standards become tomorrow's disability. So again, we've been looking at our work plan and how we can, as a committee, look forward to representing the needs of the town of Petawawa. So certainly that type of a frame of reference is going to be seen throughout our document, and which the work plan will be presented for council's information in the coming weeks. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I noticed in the minutes under one of the items 6.5, the 2020 Ontario Winter Games,
Yes.
just to give you an update, and you can pass this through to your committee. The Ontario Winter Games has a tremendous template that has been nurtured over many, many years of putting these games in place. And one of the areas is addressing accessibility issues. And there is a chair already established with that, with the terms of reference for the games themselves. And I'll report a little bit more on that, but just to let your group know that that is not something that has been left behind. It is certainly a very important part of the Winter Games, and the chair is in place for that going forward. I'll open up for questions of the report. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed, of any? It's carried. Thank you. With that, we go to staff reports.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Then we'll start with council reports. Deputy Mayor.
In the past couple of weeks, I've attended a few emergency library meetings. With the resignation of the CEO, we've had to strike a hiring committee and get the process underway to find ourselves a new leader at the library.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Councillor Sabran, I'll just go around my screen here. Councillor Sabran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to report that this morning we had a Petawawa Business Advisory Committee meeting, and of course, business as usual with respect to that committee, but certainly looking at a staycation promotion in the community, which still the final details, of course, are being worked out because the two staff leads, Christine Mitchell and Colin Coyle, have had to do a lot of pivoting with respect to this particular offering, as I think every member of the municipal team has, and all of us in the communities over the last announcement. So at any rate, that offering is going to be coming forward for our community. It's going to promote, looking at what's in your backyard and having a staycation and the premises. So within 40 kilometers of the town of Petawawa, folks can participate in that, and hopefully it will add to some opportunity for all of us to enjoy, or at least certainly those winners to enjoy this coming summer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Carmody.
Thank you, Mayor Sweet. My report would be very similar to the Deputy Mayor's report. A couple of special meetings for the library and the regular sort of PSP meeting and that, but nothing beyond that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. March 16th, I attended, along with Councillor Sabran, a virtual meeting for the Petawawa 25th anniversary. That's coming up next year already. March 18th, I attended a festival hall meeting just with the consortium and the facility manager, as we just, it was just a business update. March 25th, I attended a environmental stewardship virtual meeting for CNL meeting number 44. And I'll just give a quick brief update. There was a business update from the new person in charge at CNL, Joseph McCready. And so he talked and discussed in this virtual meeting how they want to continue to reinvent themselves at the CNL facility. They're launching a new campaign in the community to hire talent and create a more modern workplace. They had examples of that with the showing of the new offices and workstations, which was very nice. There was, and all the physical changes that are going on. There were some pictures of this and a site update and the transformation of the whole facility up there and all the buildings that have been removed. It's remarkable of what they've done in such a short period of time. They want to continue to realign their organization with improved communication, which is so important today. He also mentioned how CNL has given $60,000 to the town of Deep River for improved internet services. And they have their challenges as well, Mr. Mayor, which you always talk about, adapting to COVID-19. How a lot of their staff is working from home and continue now to work from home. They've also been a part of the COVID-19 initiatives where they help build ventilators for Canada and they helped with the vaccine rollout process. He also discussed their three main goals and mission to restore and protect the environment, research clean energy for today and tomorrow, and to continue to improve the health and welfare of Canadians. And there was some update of the work that's going on at the NPFD there with their decommissioning. And also there was some talk about the small modular reactor and also the new opportunities at CNL with the use of hydrogen, which is becoming very popular and well used around the world. So that's just a brief update of what I've been doing. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor. Yeah, I sent a letter of support to the City of Ottawa with regards to the tremendous work that the CNL is doing. And from our point of view with the small reactors, I think there's a big future ahead of Canada, as a matter of fact, for this. We're certainly fully supportive of the work that they do, the safety and et cetera that they bring to the table. On the 25th anniversary, I'll be getting back to members of council. It's hard to imagine on the 1st of June, 25 years ago, that in 1997, that we tied the knot, so to speak, between the former village and the town and the township of Petawawa. I have some great pictures of that in which we actually physically did tie a knot. There was a rope there that we tied together. Councillor Carmody's dad was one of the participants as the first mayor of the town of Petawawa, and Reeve Mike Hebeck was also in attendance. So I get some great pictures of that, and I look forward to I think we're tired of COVID. Hopefully by 2022 we'll be coming out of it, and I think there's an opportunity to celebrate that we got through it, and we can look back with a great deal of pride and have an opportunity to celebrate the 25th anniversary of coming together. I think it was a great move back then. It was sort of controversial, but I think at the end of the day, it was a tremendous move forward and an opportunity for us as a community to celebrate all that's very special about our community after 25 years and the progress that has been made. So we'll get back to members of council and some of the ideas and the plans that we're trying to put together, including some sort of legacy project that perhaps is an opportunity to put something in place. But that's all going to be brought forward and it will be endorsed by members of council going forward. But kind of exciting to do that. And I appreciate Councillor Roots and Councillor Sabran sitting in on this think tank, so to speak, and bringing it forward. But everyone will be involved in some way, shape or form. But it's an exciting opportunity to move the yardstick. So thank you for bringing that forward. Councillor Mons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to report on March the 16th, I attended a tender opening at the town. And on March the 18th, I attended a meeting at the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Center. Since that meeting was the first one of the year, there was nominations for the chair and vice chair. Happy to report that things remain the same. Mayor Bennett is still a chair and I'm still the vice chair. We had a presentation from Peter Harrington with the 2020 audited financial statement. And there was no outstanding issues related to the audits, and the board received and approved the audit report at that point in time. We did go over the finances from last year, and I'm happy to report that we had a surplus of just under $500,000, of which was put into our reserve, and that will be applied to the upcoming landfill leachate treatment system capital project. So that will help to offset that as best we can. So just a background, for some background information, the surplus was a result of numerous things, of course. The markets for some of the recyclables improved, so we saved some money there. There was, of course, significant savings in salaries and wages as a result of the COVID. Hydro costs were down because if the rates were frozen. We saved money in materials and supplies as a number of the projects got postponed. Shipments for hazardous waste disposal were reduced because we never had the environmental days this year. And of course, equipment repairs and vehicle gas were well under budget because of the COVID. We didn't have to go out to Algonquin Park until late in the season. So as a result of these items, we ended up with close to $500,000 in surplus, which was nice to be able to put over into reserves to offset the next capital project for this coming year. So that's the update on that meeting.
Well, thank you for that. Any questions of that? How is the blue box thing coming along? I know it's sort of taken back the back burner to the COVID and things like that, but is blue box moving ahead? Or
it's just moving ahead slowly. There's been no comments or discussions whatsoever in the last while.
Sure, thank you. Okay, thank you for that. On my part, I've had, oh gosh, I guess 4 or 5 COVID meetings with the Renfrew County District Health Unit, along with the CEO who sits on those meetings. Dr. Cushman and his team usually address us, and some of them bring us up to speed on the situation within Renfrew County, and in particular in our own community. I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with the cool way that, but nonetheless, a very important way that Dr. Cushman deals with our community. He's got his hands on the steering wheel, and he's not the least bit opposed to making the necessary decisions that have to be made in order to keep us all safe. So a job well done with him and the first responders and all those that are out there. Just so that you'll know, I did get my vaccination the other day, the 75 to 79 age group. It's as slick as you want to believe it. You go in one door, out the other, you wait 15 minutes, and it's all over. Now, looking forward to getting the second dose sometime after everyone else has been vaccinated. But job well done, and it's very smooth, and it has gone through very well. As far as County Council, I've had 5 or 6 meetings with County Council, including the 2022 Winter Games situation. As I explained to Councillor Sabran, the accessibility chair is in place. In fact, all 16 chairs of this particular event are now in place, and they'll be looking for volunteers in all kinds of areas to look after these games. They stretch all the way from Canada all the way up to Deep River, right to Barry's Bay, Calabogie, Petawawa, Pembroke, Renfrew, etc., etc. And I forget how many sports, as 27 or 28 sports that will be in place, and Petawawa will see their share of the actual games themselves. So hold on, because we will be looking for volunteers, some 700 or 800 of them, all over Renfrew County. So I have to tell you that along with the CEO that is leaving our community and going to Smith Falls, we have some retirements coming out of the county of Renfrew. Charles Cheeseman is retiring after, I guess 33 years as the planner and manager of planning for the county of Renfrew, and he certainly will be missed. There's no question about that. Kevin Valakat, who has looked after the properties of the county of Renfrew for about 20 odd years, including Miramichi Lodge and the Renfrew County Place, former Canadian Tire that's now transferred into the Renfrew County Place facility down there, and the OPP building down there, as long as along with the renovations of the county building, which is coming along pretty spectacular. We hope to get in there into the council chamber sometime, hopefully by sometime in May. It's a complete change for those who can remember. The Hard Rock Cafe is no longer there; it's gone, and that is a series of rooms. The POA court is also located there as well, and all of the offices of the various facilities that were downtown Pembroke are now being relocated into the building on International Drive. So it'll be quite a change for sure. There was a presentation made on County Road 51. All I can say to you is that it is moving ahead. They're looking at concept drawings for a traffic circle and pricing with regards to the traffic circle on the boulevard. They're just coming forward with some sort of funding announcement to be made in April. The Algonquin Trail, as you know, there's $1.5 million worth of stone dust sitting in both Chalk River and Du Riviere, waiting to be spread on the trail. And we've asked for $2 million to assist to do that. And it looks as though that's probably going to happen, so that we can phase this in to get as much as we possibly can do with not only the stone dust that we have is sufficient to deal with the entire trail from Petawawa all the way to Mattawa. The challenge we have is actually finding the money to actually spread it. This was a grant that was given to us by MTO. We do have the product. There was a trail analysis done on users, and it's been estimated that currently with the trail as the way it is at the moment, there's a financial impact, economic impact of just a little over $5 million to the county of Renfrew at this time, and we expect to see that double over the next few years. So it has had a positive impact on economic development within the county of Renfrew. So that's pretty well what I've been doing in the last little while. Okay, the next order of business is a closed meeting that I need a motion to go into close, and the reason is that the meeting be closed pursuant to section 239, 2B and D of the Municipal Act to discuss personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal and local board employees, and labor relations or employee negotiations regarding the amendment of a position and revised job description, the creation of a position, new job description, and placement on the salary grid, and the redundancy of a position. That is the reason I need to go into closed. We have that to discuss. With that, I need a motion to go into closed. Councillor Root, seconded by Councillor Sabrin. All in favor? This meeting is going into closed. Sean? Thank you very much. We're back in open session, and we do have a motion that I would need a mover and a seconder for, and then we can go to some further discussion if you choose. Do you wish me to read that motion to you? Yeah, I think you do. Okay, I haven't got a mover and a seconder at this point in time. Well, you don't know what the motion is, so I'll read it to you, then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, okay? That council approves amendment of the position of CAO Officer Clerk to Chief Administration Officer and the revised job description, and approves creation of the position of clerk, the job description and compensation in the salary grid from 1,300 to 1,399, and approves redundancy of the position of deputy clerk upon recruitment of the clerk. That is the resolution that is before us. We need a mover and a seconder, please. We got Councillor Sabrin, seconded by Councillor Roots. Okay, I'll open it up for further discussion on this resolution. Having seen none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed of any? It's carried. Thank you for that. With that, we'll go back to the agenda, and the agenda is, I think, confirming bylaw. Bylaw 140221, be read a first, second, third time and passed. Need a motion, please. Councillor Carmody, Councillor Mons, all in favor? It is carried. Thank you.
Bylaw 140221, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its electronic meeting held on April 6, 2021. This constitutes first, second, third reading short of bylaw 140221.
With that, the last order of business for this council meeting today is an adjournment. I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Councillor Roots, Deputy Mayor Cerberus, all in favor? It is carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.